Presented by Wearable Fandom. Welcome to Wear Mighty Things, episode 43. We are live here on September 25th. This is a podcast all about the Roosevelt brand and community. Fandom, fashion, and friends is what we're all about here on Wear Mighty Things. And if you're not down with that, I've got two words for you. Wrong pod. To receive all of our content updates, please subscribe and ring the bell to get notifications of new content as it releases. Well, guess who's back? Back again. That's right. Dustin has gone MIA, but we've got the man on the case right now. My co-host and friend. It is Mad Dog Madigan. John, welcome in, my friend. How are you? And what have you heard about our fearless leader?
Ron, I'm doing great, man. It's always good to be hanging out and doing the show with you. And yeah, Dustin is gone. He is away. Dustin is away on vacation. Dustin's actually going on a cruise tomorrow. Dustin is actually going on the Bliss Swingers cruise tomorrow. So really happy for him on that. He's really, really, really excited about that. I know that's become more of a tradition for him in recent times.
Yeah, a lot of upside down pineapples and flamingos and whatnot. And
yeah, I mean, he was telling me about how excited he is for the Swingers cruise, and I really didn't know that he was into all that, but that's Dustin who that's what I'm saying until he books my cruise. I know he keeps trying to get me to turn it into a Swingers cruise because that's just really what he's into, but I just don't think that's best for everybody. And I keep trying to tell him that, but he's really, really, really into it. So I definitely hope that Dustin's having fun on his cruise. And Dustin, remember, stay safe, okay?
First and foremost, that is always the thing. And like you said, he's got to book the Insiders cruise. I mean, what's he waiting on? I'm done with the excuses.
I don't know what he's waiting. He's waiting. You know what? He's waiting for a better offer. That's what he's waiting for. That's sometimes that's what it feels like. You know, that was always a pet peeve of mine when people would come in. I would ask somebody, hey, you know, do you want to go see this show on this day? What? I don't know what I'm doing yet that day. Like, well, no, you're doing this at me. That's what you do. Put this in the calendar. All that means is that I am waiting to see if a better offer comes up, and even then, maybe. So I don't know, Dustin, which I believe you are in the chat. I'm hoping you book the cruise soon, man. But I'm starting to lose hope, man. I'm starting to lose hope. So. Come on, everybody wants to see you there, and I'm sure we can find someone for you to hang out with.
For sure. Well, we'll get back to some cruise talk here in a second. But what are you wearing today, my friend?
I am wearing. So I just came home from work. I just do the first thing I can get, and this is going to be a pink LaCroix. At least I think it's pink. I'm colorblind, but yeah, this is going to be the pink LaCroix. And yeah, I mean, look, we're at the end of summer. I mean, this is the last show of September. We're going to be getting into those warmer months coming up next month. So I figured this is the last time to really break out something that feels kind of fresh and kind of fun, until we get to the summertime. So because it's going to start getting cold here in New York. So you'll probably start seeing me in hoodies next week. But my friend Ron, what are you wearing?
I'm actually, I'm in that transition into spooky season. I treat. I know a lot of people have started to treat September as the beginning of spooky season. For me, that's the beginning of football season, and then as we hit the end of September, we start decorating for Halloween. We get ready for the very beginning of October, and that's really when spooky season starts for us. So I'm in that slow transition. So I went with Scooby-Doo Road Trippin'. Not really super Halloweeny, but we know how the Mystery Machine and all that goes. Yeah. So I'm easing into that transition as October is just a week away, which seems crazy to me that we're already hitting that point.
All right, no, please. It's almost time to wake up Billy Joel Armstrong. It's crazy. Now, so is your house? Do you guys like go all out on the Halloween decorations? I know
we do a pretty sizable Halloween display. Most of that's up front on the front side of our house. It's not nearly as big as what we do for Christmas, but we'll have that up, pretty much starting the very 1st of October, running through Halloween, and then on November 1st, we kind of treat that like Black Friday for us. If it's this year it's a Saturday, so it doesn't apply as much, but usually we'll take the day off from work. And my wife and I will go and hit all the Halloween stores and get all the stuff for 50% off so we can stock up for the next year. And then as soon as we get home from doing that, we start pulling Halloween down, and then Christmas starts going up. and we've got a few Thanksgiving decorations. We still try to give Thanksgiving its piece, but our goal is always to have Christmas up and ready so that we can have a official lighting for the first time on the actual Black Friday. All our lights will go on, and then we're lit up for Christmas all the way through January 1st.
No, I love it. Now, Ron, you have a wife and kids, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so your dad around the house, and I would imagine that the whole family really loves seeing all the decorations being put up. But can you tell me what the house is like when it's time to start taking the decorations down? Does anyone like to help out Dad, or is Dad out there by himself? Doing dad things.
It's funny. I mean, for years it was just my wife Megan and I, and to be honest, she's way more like I'm the ideas person. She's the up the ladder person.
Oh, okay.
I'm not good with heights, so she's the one like on the roof putting up lights and stuff like that. I'm pointing out where things are missing and wrong. I mean, we sharing it pretty good. Luckily, the kids now the last several years have gotten old enough where they actually can help, and it's not just like telling them to do something and then it doesn't actually get done and you're creating more work for yourself. My oldest Joel is 15, Xander's 13, and Mackenzie's 9. So now we can give them tasks. Hey, go set this up, go do this. And most of the time, they're spot on. Taking things down is always the biggest pain, because at that point you're just tired of all of it. And for us, especially during the Christmas holidays, like we'll deck out. Our main theme is Star Wars themed up front, and we actually have a walkthrough all the way around our house. But we'll on weekends cosplay in Star Wars character costumes and go out and take pictures with people as they're checking out our house and whatnot. And the kids will sell hot chocolate and cider and stuff for donations. So it's pretty busy. It can get pretty taxing. So once the season ends, and especially because for us it's go once October hits, by the time January 2nd hits, we're like, need to put our feet up for a bit and hope that the HOA doesn't get mad if the lights aren't down in 30 days.
Oh my God. Oh, so you're in an HOA. Oh, so my next question was going to be, how long have you left the lights on? Like, sometimes you drive past houses and like they're on like an embarrassingly long amount of time. Like they're keeping the lights up. Like they're not even lit, but like, it's starting to look like, guy, like, come on, take them down. Being in an HOA place, I imagine that's not too easy for you.
It's one of those things. It's definitely a balancing act, and I mean they've been pretty good to us. There have been a couple years where we've gotten that dreaded letter from the HOA, like, "Hey, it's time to bring them down. You've got another week, or we're going to fine you." We've never gotten fined. The good thing is, I mean, we've been at this location for 13 years now, so we're pretty well known. When it comes to any holidays, like anybody around this area, like if it's football season starts and they're like, "Oh, you're the Packers house," because we put up all these Green Bay Packers inflatables, and then we've got something pretty much for all holidays, and so we get a lot of support from the neighborhood and from the community, and then the Highlands Ranch HOA has been kind to us. There have been a few years where like it snowed right before you got to get everything down, and you're like, I'm not getting on that roof, So
yeah, no, exactly.
It's a balancing act, but it's a lot of fun. It brings a lot of joy to people in the community, to our family. We love doing it. We love seeing everybody enjoy it. So it keeps us busy. It's a lot of work, but it's a lot of fun. So we got a Facebook page for our house that I can post at some point, but I'll make sure that people see video and pictures of it, because as soon as we get decked out, up on Facebook will go all the pictures of the Halloween display, and then straight on into Christmas.
Now, are you more when it comes down to like Christmas music? Are you more of, because Dustin and I, we talk a lot about music on the show. Are you more of a traditionalist when it comes to music? Like, what kind of music do you have playing in your house? Is it more traditional, or are you open to some of the newer stuff from some of the newer artists?
I listen to everything. Like I'm very eclectic in all my listening habits. Like if you look at my Spotify, or pull up any of my playlists, I'm always creating playlists, and I mean it's anything from rap to rock to country to, I mean, it's a little everything. So I'm always into trying new things. So I'll always check out what is new and popular, and I may not necessarily like it, but I'll always give it a listen, and I'll always mix it in, and especially, when we do events or barbecues or things like that, like, for me, it's not just about me and what I listen to. It's about making sure everybody's got a little something. So I'll mix in all kinds of stuff. And, so, this year, I'm sure there will be plenty of, Sabrina Carpenter and things like that. And things are, new out there that I may not necessarily listen to. But, I go back to some classic stuff too. I mean, my son Joel's name is Joel for a reason. I mean, I'm a huge Billy Joel fan, and my wife and I, we couldn't agree on a name when she was pregnant for our first. We knew it was a boy. We had gone back and forth, and we actually were at a Billy Joel concert, Billy Joel and Elton John at Pepsi Center here in Denver. And I just happened to look at her and I was like, Joel's a pretty strong name. And she's like, yeah, it actually is. And like, we were off and running. So
there you go.
Nice.
I mean, definitely. No, it's a great story, man. Speaking about trying new things, we know our friend Dustin this weekend. He's been trying lots of new things. That's what he's always excited about when it comes to these cruises. Just literally down for anything is what I was heard. So he'll try anything once. So he's really excited, looking forward to that. I was actually reading this. You say you go to you treat November 1st as kind of like your Black Friday. I'm sure you make your way to Spirit Halloween. I was reading a thing, Spirit Halloween, very disappointed they're planning to move into the Jimmy Kimmel Live studio set, and I guess that's not happening because they were really looking forward. They signed a lease and everything.
I heard that they had put a bid on the property, and we're getting ready for that, and it was just too soon.
They just put the banner right over it. Yeah.
Well, we've talked about Dustin being on the cruise, but let's talk about your cruise and where things are at and how are things looking for the second annual Insiders Cruise.
It always makes me laugh. And Manny's in the chat right now. Man, I love Manny to pieces. And I don't know why. Whenever someone asks me what's going on with the cruise, I think about this. Manny did this in the group chat. Someone had written in the group chat. By the way, for anybody who's booked in the Roosevelt's cruise, where you have a group chat for everybody who's in there and involved. And somebody had written, and he's got it pulled right up there. My God, that's why I love him. So someone had written in the group chat, how many people are we up to? And at this point here, we were at maybe 100 people or whatever. And before I could even respond with what the new total was, Manny had responded back with, "We're down to 27. A lot of people canceled." I'm like, and I just love Manny because he's just so quick like that. By the way, happy birthday to Manny. I hope you had a great day, buddy. You're a true friend, and I really hope you enjoyed yourself. I hope you got to party hard, my friend. But the cruise is going great. 130 people booked and paid coming on the ship. And all I can say is I'm really blessed and I'm really grateful for everybody who's coming on. 130 people not named Dustin. So I'm really glad. Ron, I'm really excited to meet you and to hang out with you there. I know this is going to be your first cruise. That's super exciting. Tell me, have you gone online? Have you looked up anything when it comes to the cruise? Have you seen any excursions or things they're being offered on the ship that you're excited about? I mean, you really want to try?
There's so much stuff. I mean, at times it's almost overwhelming, and especially like in our heads when we first were like, yeah, we're gonna do this. We're like, we got plenty of time. The cruising until May. We don't have to be paid until March. Like all that stuff. And then things just start moving fast. It's like, oh, well, do you guys want to book in the cabanas, which we did, and like, do you want to go, do this excursion, or do you want to book this dinner? And I mean, to be honest, we've been kind of laying back on some of it. We didn't want to jump into too many things too fast. My biggest thing about being there is it's going to be a huge opportunity for me to be with a lot of insiders for the first time, and I wanted to make sure that I'm hanging out with everybody and kind of going where the masses are. So as we get closer, I might jump into like some of those dinners and whatnot, but I kind of wanted to go where the biggest bang for the buck was and the most people and
absolutely.
I'm excited about it being my first cruise, but I'm even more excited about just the sheer amount of insiders that I'm going to be able to meet and hang out with for the first time.
I am too, man. And that's the best part about all this. Question about the Cruise: are the Packers going to lose to the Cowboys too?
Thanks, Ernesto. No, we're not gonna, pull another thing like we did against the Browns this week. My God.
Are you sure? I don't know.
I hope so.
I'm really blessed. And by the way, our friend Anthony the Filpo, he likes to be called Flip. He is on our ship right now. He's on the Utopia of the Seas right now, and he's been sharing some pictures and videos, and he's having a great time. But no, the cruise is going to be great, guys. Listen, if you're on the fence about it, let me know. If you're on the fence, let's talk about it. Reach out to me. Let's get you on that ship because I'm working on a lot of fun things, and once I'm allowed to announce it, these rooms are going to fill up really quick. So I'm telling you guys, it's going to be a great time. It's going to be a fun time. It's going to be one of the best weekends of your life. So you really want to go. You really want to be on the ship because when we're going to party hard. And Ron, I'm really glad that you're coming, and we're gonna have a great time.
It's gonna be epic. So yeah, no, we're looking forward to it. I mean, even Megan is looking forward to it, and she's looking at some of the excursions, and even she's like, well, you can go play with your friends, and I'll be over here like swimming with dolphins or pigs or whatever it's going on, and
yeah, definitely.
So it's gonna be nice. We don't get, with 3 kids and sports and things like that, we don't get to do things just the 2 of us very often. So we're looking forward to having some time away, and then to also be kind of piggybacking it with such a epic Roosevelt's Insider event. So
now, who do you think to be the bigger drinker between the 2 of you?
I mean, it's definitely me. There's there's Megan likes to drink, but she's not she doesn't even really like to drink to the point of being buzzed very often, where I like to tie one on from time to time. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. I don't want to make an ass out of myself the first time I'm around all of you guys, but we'll see what happens. I can't promise anything.
It's a righteous passage of honor to do that. So you don't think she's going to get her money's worth from the drink package?
I mean, she will probably buy it anyways, but I mean, she will not keep pace. I'll guarantee you that one. So
you're drinking for the 2 of you. You got to make the money worth it for the 2 of you.
Anthony, maybe I'm staying on the ship until May. Way to go, Anthony!
Oh, baby, good for you, Anthony. I definitely wish I could do that. Nope, Gabe, he won't have fun.
Oh, I think I missed the first one. Oh yeah, so Gabe asked, what about the insiders I had already met? And Gabe is one of the guys. I was fortunate enough. I this year was the first year I got out to do any meetups, and first I went out and did the Greensboro meetup and met a bunch of our friends out there, and then was fortunate enough to host the Denver meetup here, and Gabe and a lot of our members from the Camp Hope, Triple Flex community were out here and got to hang. And so for me, it's been definitely a banner year of being able to meet and hang out with everybody and see if see how we all click in person. Cause it's one of those things you just never, I was nervous. You don't know how you're going to interact with people when you're face to face compared to how, I've been interacting with some of these people for years online now. And it's like, how's it going to be the first time you're actually standing there? Like, how, is it going to be awkward? And to be honest, it never is. Like, this group is always amazing. Like you're just instantly your family, and it's just,
I agree.
You've lived next to each other for years, you just right on into, everything. So I love it.
I agree completely. That's what I love most about the group. That's what I love about going to meetups and what I love about going out and just seeing friends. I can say honestly and truly that I have made friends in this group that I will be friends with for the rest of my life. This group changed my life, and I'm really, really, really blessed to know all these people. I'm excited. I'm going to New York Comic Con in a couple of weeks.
Nice.
We're almost there for that. So I'm really excited to see everybody there, and that's going to be a great freaking time. Rod, do you have any other meetups that you're going to soon?
No, not at this point. We were really looking forward to, on the Roosevelt's calendar was a TBA for the Great American Beer Fest, which is held here in Denver, and they were planning on coming out for a second time this year. And they, sounded like they were going to have a shirt or two that was going to be available that was just going to be at Great American Beer Fest. And there's a group of insiders that were planning on coming and hanging out for a night or two, for a session or two, and then we got an update from HQ and from DTH, probably about a month ago, that some things happened with the products that they were working on, and it just wasn't going to happen. So they had to kind of pull out of attending this year. So fortunately, there's still a handful of us that are going to be getting together and still going for the Friday night session, and
that's great.
Tasting some good beers and having a good time. And we won't be able to get that exclusive Roosevelt shirt, but at least we'll be able to get together and hang out and you kind of reconnect. So a few of the guys I've met before, a few I haven't. It'll be a great time.
Oh man, I love to hear that. That sounds absolutely awesome. Well, I hope you guys have a great time, and I definitely can't wait to see all your pictures and videos from the event. And you'll definitely have to let us know how all that is.
Well, and I'm looking forward to seeing everything from New York Comic Con. I mean, that's one that's on my list that I would love to hit someday, and I'm sure
next year, maybe.
I'm sure I'll be
next
messaging
year,
you guys in the on the side, if I need a pickup or something.
Yeah, man, dude, $200 for you, no problem, my friend.
Yep, it's the co-host discount.
The co-host discount, baby. 200 pickup, you know it.
Or markup.
You know it. No,
well,
man,
Ernesto took a shot at me about the Packers, so I feel like that's a good transition into the last couple of weeks. You and Dustin have been talking about the football pool and having to drink Pepsis at New York Comic Con.
Yes.
Where are you at this point? Did you survive this past week?
So yes, both Dustin and I have survived another week, thank God. Because I am not drinking Pepsi at New York Comic Con, and he's going down. Okay, he's going down like he is on the Swingers Cruise. Okay, so I'm not drinking Pepsi. But no, Dustin and I both made it in another week, so that means we are going head to head again.
Nice.
For the next week. So and Ron, you're in it. Did you make it through, my friend? I
am in it. I had a pretty big scare with the Buccaneers against the Jets. I thought for sure the Buccaneers would handle the Jets no problem. With about a minute to go in the game, somehow the Jets had a 1-point lead, and my pants had been soiled. And then the Buccaneers were fortunate, somehow managed to get down and into field goal range and won the game in the closing seconds. So that definitely made my day, because it was better than any of the fantasy leagues that I'm in right now. And especially because it was a day where a lot of big teams lost, including my Packers, that took out a lot of people. And if I pulled it up right now on Pool Host, if you look, there's only 233 people remaining at this point. So we've cut down. Yeah, we've already cut down more than half the participants in 3 weeks. So gonna be wild. And it's the NFL, so you never know. Any insight? Do you wanna tip your hand on where you're putting your pick this week, or are we keeping that secret?
No, I'm all in. Before I go into that, though, I just want to mention real quick, I think it's funny because I was watching the end of that Jets game, and it's funny. So, I'm born and raised in New York City, obviously. My family is Jets fans. I was never a big football guy, but I was raised as a Jets fan. So, it sucks to be a Jets fan because, they suck. And it was funny, and I was I had just finished up whatever game was done beforehand, and I caught the tail end of the Jets game, and I couldn't believe to see that they were actually winning. And I was texting with my friend Ariane, and we were like, oh my God, the Jets are winning. And we're like, wait, don't get too excited. There's a minute and 43 seconds left. There's still time for them to mess this up. And they did. They messed it up. So
Jets are going to jet, right? I mean, it's
exactly.
A given. It's like death and taxes.
I laughed so hard because I was like, they had a chance, and no. What was that Jets and Giants?
Apparently you've got a Jets and Giants joke that you told Gabe.
What is the Jets and Giants joke? Oh, no.
Oh, that one.
No. Yeah. No.
Save it for another time.
Thanks. Yeah. As much as I like to joke around in this podcast, I don't think
We don't
Dustin
need the
would
FCC
appreciate.
after us. They're taking everybody else down.
Yeah, I don't think the people at Sinclair Broadcast Group would really be happy about me telling that joke. I'll text it over to Ron. I'll tell you about it afterwards. Yeah. No. Thanks, Gabe. Really appreciate that. Took me a minute to remember what that was. Yes, but yes, I did make my pick for this week, and I'll be honest with you, and maybe because Ron, you're more of a football guy. Look, my goal at this point, listen, because the chances of me making it all the way to the end and winning this whole thing are slim to none. My goal is to beat Dustin. All right, and Dustin's not here, so I feel like I can receive your input and your advice on this thing. Isn't a joke if it's true. No. I did the matchup. I am picking the Cincinnati Bears. Now, my goal is to
the Cincinnati Bears. You mean the Cincinnati Bengals?
Bengals. Yes, sir. See how much of a football fan I am? Yes, sir. Cincinnati Bengals. I saw the B and I took a guess against Denver. So I was picking them. I went online. I saw that. I felt like was the safest matchup because my goal is to just beat Dustin because I'm not drinking Pepsi. Would you consider that a safe bet, or do you think that's risky?
I mean, to be honest, it's a home game for Denver on a Monday night, and the Bengals are without their starting quarterback and Jeff Burrow. And I know that they had a decent showing without him this past week. I would be hesitant of that one. I'm definitely with you on, I always try to look for what I think is the biggest discrepancy between teams. And I know a lot of people in leagues like this try to hold certain good teams to the end. I just look at like what I think is the biggest discrepancy each week. Originally on paper, I probably would have gone Detroit over Cleveland this week, but when Cleveland beat Green Bay last week and Green Bay beat Detroit in week 1, that kind of put some hesitation on me picking Detroit. I actually ended up going with the Chargers at Giants. The Giants have looked terrible, and the Chargers are undefeated and seem to be looking, better and better each week. So that was the game that I ended up picking on my list. There's a lot of close matchups this week. I would stay away from Baltimore or Kansas City in that matchup. Green Bay versus Dallas is always, no matter what those teams are doing, it's always a tough matchup. San Francisco over Jacksonville looks pretty decent, but because San Francisco's sitting there at 3-0, but San Francisco's got so many injuries right now that I think they have to snap back to reality at some point. So yeah, a lot of tough decisions, tough matchups on the docket this week.
All right, you're right. All right, maybe I gotta reevaluate this. I'm definitely gonna take some of the information you just tell me and try to pick the bill. I already used the bills, unfortunately. I already used them, so I'm screwed. I'm screwed that way. But I am definitely having a lot of fun with this. I have turned into a full-blown football fan. Like I'm watching the games every Sunday, and I'm definitely enjoying myself and having fun. I will definitely stop watching the games as soon as I'm out because if I don't have something in on it,
it's always good to have a rooting interest. I did that even when I worked in sports. There's some sports that I didn't necessarily care about, but I would participate in fantasy leagues because then I would get more familiar with the players in that league, and then I'd kind of have an active and rooting interest. I will say at one point when I was working at KCNC here in Denver, I had an intern who he had graduated and he was still working as an intern for us, and most of working as an intern in the sports department was like watching games and just logging when the good plays happened. So when we had to edit the highlights, we knew right where they were. And the kid couldn't log a game for me unless he had action on it. So like even if it was like a MLS soccer game, he'd have to put like at least $5 on the game to be able to sit there and pay attention. So
no, I get it. I get it completely. I think that's definitely a way to do it. I have never done an online bet before, and I'm afraid to start it because I'm afraid of where that will go.
That's always
I've
my
seen the-
concern. Yeah.
I've seen. Have you done it before? Have you?
No,
put
no,
money?
I have way too much of an addictive personality, as seen with all my collectibles and jerseys and shirts, and I know that I will go down the rabbit hole pretty deep. I even when I go to Vegas, I don't gamble a whole lot. I want to be able to spend my money on the stuff I want to spend my
Strip,
money on, and I know I'm not going to
right.
hit
You
the
spend. Right. You spend your time at the strip clubs, of course.
that too, you know.
Right. Of course.
So yeah, so I don't do a lot. You know, I, between friends and I put a bunch of money into fantasy football leagues and things like that. I've got 5 leagues this year. Like that's gambling to me. But the daily stuff that people do and the stuff on Sundays, I'm too worried about losing cash and not being able to buy the next drop.
No, that's I totally get that. But see, the addictive personality part of me is like, well, I've got the last 3 games right, and if I would have bet on all 3 of those, I would have won. I'm like, maybe I got a good luck thing going on. Maybe I should start. Maybe give this a shot. I don't know. Like that's the way my mind works. Probably not good. Probably not good. I'm very sick. I am sick. I actually feel terrible.
I was gonna say, it sounds like you got the head cold going on, and I know that a
Yeah.
lot is going around. And that actually kind of transitions right into my next topic. I mean, you'd mentioned it earlier that the weather's going to start turning there in New York, and we had a brief couple days here earlier in the week here in Denver where the temperature dropped into the 50s and we're getting rain. It actually felt like fall for a couple days. So we're hitting that transition into fall and actual spooky season. How has it been out there in New York? And is fall a time of year that you enjoy, or like what's your favorite season?
I like it. No, I like the summer. I like the warm weather, going to the pool, partying, enjoy myself. Like I'm not a winter guy. I'm not cut out for the snow. That's just not me. That's just not me. The fall, I mean, like I said, we're getting into it. The weather's still pretty warm throughout the day. It's during the morning and during at night you start to see some of those cooler, mornings and cooler evenings and whatnot. Not freezing cold, but it's we're starting to get there. Let's give it another week or so, and I think we're going to start really feeling it. But it's still been kind of warm here, but it's not bad. How's it over by you?
I mean, I'm kind of like Gabe's here mentioning it was 90 degrees on Monday, then rain into the 50s and 60s. And that's kind of how it's been in Denver. We were still in the 80s and almost 90s last week. Then we had this period of cold and rain the last couple days, and then today it's right back up into the 80s. We'll have 80s for the next few days. I'm somebody, I love fall. I love the smell. I love the crispness in the air, and part of that is probably I grew up in Western New York, in Rochester, and being in that area, and then we have family down in Danville, Pennsylvania, so we would always drive down in October through the Adirondacks. Well, there was all the colors, and drive down and see our family down there every year, and it's funny, people brag about the colors in Colorado, and to be honest, it's all aspen gold. Like everything just turns yellow and then goes away. I miss one of the things I miss most about being in New York is driving through the Adirondacks and the pinks and purples and oranges and so many colors. But yeah, fall was always my season. Halloween was always my big holiday. Like I just always really dug that time of year. So I was enjoying the few days that it felt like we were in fall, and I'm already dreading that it was warm out again. And it's been that way the last few years, where the fall out here seems shorter and shorter, and you go from heat to snow to right back to heat, just about every year the last couple years.
Yeah, I mean, all those shades and colors you're talking about sound really nice as a colorblind person. That sounds really glad to know that I'm missing out on so much. I really appreciate you reminding me of all that. As a colorblind person, that sounds awesome. I'd love to. I would love to see that. Thanks, Ron. I really appreciate it.
And this is a question that I've always had, and I know that there are varying degrees and differences in colorblind. Like for yourself, what is it that you see or think that you see? Like how do you differentiate that, between colors or whatnot? Like,
yeah,
I can't even imagine what it's like.
Yeah, I mean, so Yeah, and I'll just talk very briefly on this. In fact, a lot of colorblind people don't even realize they're colorblind. So
it's one of those things that unless you know, you don't know what you're missing until somebody tells you you're missing it, right? Like,
right? No. So to be clear, so when someone says they're colorblind, very rarely is it that they're like a dog where they only see in black and white. Michigan is great fall color. My favorite season here, spring in California. Very nice. So when someone says that they're colorblind, more than likely it means that they can't see shades of color. Everyone can see color. I can see color. I can see, I know my background's green. I know the shirt you're wearing is blue. Like I know I'm playing. Obviously my background's red. Okay. You looked at me so concerned right there.
No.
Like, oh no. No. So the best way to explain it to people is if you put out 50 shades of red out like on a table,
yeah,
you can see all 50 shades. I can see maybe 2 or 3.
Gotcha.
They all just kind of blend in and look the same.
Yeah.
That is the best way to. So I don't see. So the way that colors pop for you, they don't pop for me. I don't see all the different shades and hues and the way certain things kind of like pop out at you. Everything looks very dull and muted to me. That's how. Yeah. That is the best way to explain it. Yes, Brian. 50 Shades of Grey.
50 Shades of Grey. Yeah.
Yes. You can see all 50 shades.
I do remember too. A couple of years ago, when the NFL started doing their color rush jerseys on Thursday nights and whatnot, there was a game where it might have been like Buffalo versus the Jets or whatever, and apparently like the most people were like most people who are colorblind are like blue green colorblind or something like that, and the teams that were playing that day happened to be the 2 colors that are like most people were colorblind for. So yeah. The NFL got all these complaints because nobody could differentiate between anybody colorblind couldn't differentiate between the 2 teams on the field, which I had never even considered at that point. And then like
it's a thing. It's crazy about it. And it's funny, because you can still see color. There's a lot of people who don't even realize that they're colorblind. If you're just living life and you still see things, you don't realize that, colors are dull because these are just the things that you see every day. In fact, I think it'd be very funny to, have people take a colorblind test and maybe find out something about themselves.
Well, we always thought about it like when we first had our kids, like, especially when it came to like colors or certain words, like kids know that because they are taught that. Like they don't know red is red. They are taught that red is red. And like what would it be like if you just totally messed with your kid and like taught them things backwards and like everything was like in reverse, and to them everything's right because that's the way that they were taught, so they're seeing it that way through that lens of what they were taught. So obviously we didn't do that, but we thought it would be one hell of a joke.
100%, of course. Dan actually brings up a really good question right here. He said, have you noticed that you don't care for shirts others do because it doesn't pop the same? And this has happened to me, and I'm sure it's happened to me more than I've realized. That's one thing I've realized. It's like, it's like for someone that wears all these loud, color popping, I really don't know what I'm wearing. I really don't know exactly. I have an idea, but I really don't know the true aspect of it. So this happened to me actually once, and like, it's like, I know I'm colorblind, but sometimes you forget because you just live with it and you see the colors anyway. And like, it's not something that you're continuously thinking about. And I made a mistake last year when the Mickey floral came out at the D23 Holly Jolly event. Remember that Mickey floral that came out? Yeah. I made a post on Insiders and said, hey guys, I know everyone loves the Mickey floral, but I just don't get it. I mean, red and gray? I mean, just doesn't make sense to me. And then I got 5 or 6 out, red and green, John, red and green. And I was like, oh, right.
That's why people pay $500 plus for that shirt.
Right. Of course. I'm like, okay, that makes sense now. I'm like, okay. So that was, that was fun. But I think I definitely wish I can see my shirts. And, they do make those colorblind glasses, and I had them for a period of time. And that's another story for another reason, because I feel like we've been talking about this forever. But I don't have them anymore due to my own stupidity. But one day I'll get them again, and then I can finally see all the really fun shirts that I'm wearing and what they actually look like.
Well, talking shirts, I mean that brings us right to a great transition into, there have been a lot of shirts dropped over the past week or so, since you guys last met. So I know you guys ended on Thursday. So, after that, there was a drop zone on Friday. Spooky season, they always seem to go all out, get them weekly. And last week on Friday, there was this one called Last Call. Luckily, it's black and white, so we don't have to worry about what you think color wise on it. What did you think of this shirt?
Thanks, Ron. Yeah. Um, I like the shirt. I can see it. I'm happy I can see it. Um, I definitely like this one. I'm all for it. In fact, I'm liking this season of Drop Zones better than last year's season of Drop Zones. I really think we're getting into a better groove here. I do like I have the different drinks on there. And that's a fun spooky shirt that I feel like is very appropriate at any party you're going to. I definitely enjoyed this one. What did you think? Did you pick it up?
I was unable to pick it up, not because I didn't like it, but because I was dealing with work things at that time, and you know how drop zones are. If you're not there 30 seconds before that's actually supposed to even be live, you don't get
it. Of course.
Nope, and to be honest, I mean, over the years, like I'm always hit or miss on how much I like drop zones. Anyways, most of the time, if I get them, I end up turning. It's that FOMO, so you grab it, but then you're like, I didn't really like it, so I trade them or whatnot. And to be honest, I think I've only gotten 2 or 3 drop zones over the years, like at the moment of, and then I've gotten a handful. I've gone back and traded or bought off a BST, but this one, especially with the cruise coming up, I think this one isn't just spooky season. I think you could wear this, to tiki parties or when you're out.
Oh, I agree completely.
Or even like Great American Beer Fest or whatever. Like for me, it was a good drinking shirt, but I struck out and I blame my boss.
Hey, look, you got to keep your job so you can continue buying shirts. So.
And Dan just got his in today. Says it's got a spooky Gatsby vibe. Yeah, I can definitely see that, Dan.
Definitely like that a lot. Yeah.
Yeah. So from there, Friday they had a bunch of restocks on hoodies and whatnot, but I think we'll skip over that and then right into Tuesday, because Tuesday was pretty big, and with Tuesday it was Star Wars, the Star Wars spooky drop. Let me get this change here, and we had quite a few shirts for that drop come out. Were you what did you think of the Star Wars drop on Tuesday? Did you pick anything up? What did you think of the shirts? Which ones stood out to you?
Definitely love it. I believe this is our first Star Wars spooky drop, which is always just like really
there actually was one last year. There was the one because they had the Stormtrooper pumpkin shirt and the Delas Des Mortes. Yeah, sorry, I butchered that. They had like 2 or 3. They had the one that was like the little candies. So this is actually the second year that they've done one for a spooky drop. But I felt like this one was way better than last year's.
Yeah, you're right. I did forget about last year's, and that's why you're the main host and I'm just the co-host. That's right.
On your own show.
On my own show, exactly. Do want to give a big shout out to my friend Dustin. My friend Forrest. Don't know why I said Dustin. Dustin's not my friend. He's not even coming on my cruise. No, our friend Forrest Davis, who had 2 shirts come out in this drop. Forrest, of course, as he's a fantastic insider, and who has come out, I want to say, with 5 Roosevelt shirts now. I think
he's up to 5. I think it might be 5 at this point.
I think it's about 5.
And two on this drop. Yeah, because he had the 2 other Star Wars ones around San Diego Comic-Con. He had the Boba Fett and the drawing the blank on the
Rebels.
Yep, and then he's got the Rebels one, which is great. Like, yeah, he's been rocking and rolling lately, and the 2 that dropped this week I thought were great. This Jawa one, the Off-World Watchers, that one I didn't pick up at the time. I will go back for it. Like, I think this one is amazing looking.
100%. Oh, I really like that a lot, for sure.
I love the details in it. I love the way the pattern is. Dustin will be happy. It seems to have a pretty good match pocket there.
Yes, of course.
and then he was also the artist behind the Sugar Squadron one, which is all these different candies, and they're all in the shapes of different Star Wars characters and ships and whatnot, and that one's pretty solid too. That one definitely screams Halloween. I didn't feel that all of them really felt necessarily Halloween spooky season. I thought some were just kind of dark side-ish, and we can classify that, but definitely the Sugar Squadron definitely felt like, hey, wear this at Halloween time.
100%. No, definitely. And I'm definitely going to pick Sugar Squadron as the winner for this drop, at least for me personally. He did an absolutely great job, though, and I highly recommend you definitely pick up both of his designs, because he's absolutely killing it. And to see, for me, to see one of our insiders' own really be successful in this kind of thing is just so cool.
Without a doubt.
And I am really, really glad to be his friend.
And this was a pretty sizable drop. I mean, they had 8 different shirts. Most of them were available in women's cuts. They had the jogger set for the Day of the Dark Side. I did think the one, the Dismembers Only, was funny, where it's got all the different characters that lose a limb in the Star Wars universe, and it has the limb that they lost in red. I thought the one miss was on Vader, because, he lost legs and arms and whatnot, and then it just has his hand here. So that one I will probably also go back for. I honestly didn't buy anything. This time of year is always, with the holidays and us decorating stuff, is always tight budget wise. So I got to pick and choose, and none of them were things I felt like I had to jump on at the moment. But the one that everybody seemed to jump on was this Hyperglow Horrors, and this one really does stand out. I'll say that.
It absolutely does. No, you're right. That is a phenomenal one. That sold out in minutes.
It's crazy. That was one that I would have grabbed if I had the chance, and that was another one where, I had somebody stop by my desk right at the time that things were dropping, and I shooed them off as quick as possible, and it still was not fast enough. And the colors on this, the pictures on this, I really thought that this was a knockout of a shirt, and I'm sure it looks amazing under black light. So, if anybody wants to wear this out to the club or whatnot, I think this is going to be a great shirt for those kind of things. So
we know Dustin will be at the club for sure. I don't know if he brought that shirt with him, but he will definitely be out at the club. But no, definitely an overall great drop, and I always love to see women's cuts and youth cuts as well with that. So I'm really glad to see people had options and whatnot. And overall, this is a great Halloween drop for those that are really looking for something fun to wear during this time.
And from there, we'll go straight into today's drop. Was the Ninja, the highly anticipated. We got a tease on the Ninja Turtle Halloween stuff. I mean, months ago probably. And everybody has been waiting for it as the holiday has gotten closer. So finally today we had the TMNT spooky season drop. 4 different Kunus. We had 4 different hoodies. One's the classic and 3 are the performance. A couple T-shirts. This pretty cool Shredder skeleton hat. Another solid drop. What did you think? Did you pick anything up from it? Which one stood out to you?
So for me, and I've always thought about how I am definitely a hoodie guy. So if I'm going to pick one, it is going to be the Tiki Turtles 2.0 in hoodie form. I really, really, really love that. And that's definitely one that I need to pick up. I need that one. I definitely think that was the winner for me. If I'm going to pick a Kunu, though, I'm going to go with Turtle Terror. I think that's really cool. I love the colors on that one, or at least what I think they are. I kind of like that. Yeah, I definitely like that kind of like, I don't know why it reminds me of like an old 3D movie kind of like I don't know why.
It reminded me. So a few years ago, the toy line, and I think they did it in the comic book line as well. They did a crossover with like the Universal Monsters, where each one of the Ninja Turtles was kind of converted into one of the Universal Monsters. And to be honest, I didn't read the comic line. I remember seeing the toys in the store. but this kind of reminded me of those characterizations, and I don't know if that's why they did this or not, and or if the characters are the right, Halloween characters from that line, but I did like the kind of crossover effect of this one, and for you, I mean, the colors are some very bright, vibrant colors on a black background, and I think it's one that'll definitely stand out. And
for me, definitely.
Yeah, and it'll be great. For this one, definitely screams spooky season. I thought more than most of them. I thought the out of their gourds was a fun shirt. I love the 80s cartoon animation from the actual series. So I really enjoyed that. For me, it was just, I've got so many spooky season shirts at this point. I've got so many Ninja Turtle shirts at this point that none of them screamed like, hey, I have to have this. But I thought that they were all fun shirts. And then I was excited that the Tiki Turtles 2.0 hoodie, like, I mean, a lot of people like that Tiki design. It's probably up there for favorite Tiki designs, and to see it on a performance hoodie, and the color scheme on it is a bit darker and richer than on the Kunu, and to me it really stands up. I'm not really a hoodie guy, but I think that really was a standout for me.
Oh, I agree completely. That is definitely a standout. I really like it. I definitely need to get my hands on one.
And it looks like Gabe's one of those ones bragging they finally secured a Turtles Tiki. So that's awesome.
So happy for you, Gabe. Gabe's the man.
And then from there, today we did get word that there will be a drop zone tomorrow. There you
go.
They were pretty. This time of year they go all in on making sure that, like, every week we seem to have one, which is funny because, I mean, leading up to it, it was pretty quiet and everybody was trying to remember the last time we had a drop zone. But not too long before we went on, the teaser for Drop Zone 79 came out saying that things are going to get a little spooky tomorrow at noon Eastern.
That is a very clear hint on what we
there's going to be some sort of little, it's going to be little monsters or little skeletons or something along those lines. I got to imagine.
Oh yeah, definitely. We'll definitely see some more of that. Some little bones around. I like the idea of that. That is going to be definitely a cool job, and we will definitely be checking that out tomorrow at 12 Eastern to see what we're getting. But I like the little collection. The little stuff collection has always been pretty cool and pretty nice.
Yeah, those shirts have always sold really well. People have always really liked them. I mean, even during the Star Wars drop, the fact that we had the dark side one, the all the helmets for the troopers, the little troopers on the black background instead of the original gray, and I know a lot of people were excited to pick that up, especially with the gray being one that's harder to come by now. So I'm glad that they're diving full into that, and I'm looking forward to seeing what it is tomorrow. I'll be ready. I've actually blocked the calendar off, and we'll see if I'm fortunate enough to grab one.
Yeah, I mean, definitely going to try it as long as you don't have clients. Just remember, book yourself a little meeting during that time period. That way, you don't have to deal with that.
Yeah, without a doubt. So, well, and as if that wasn't already enough stuff, we've got not one but two cons going on this weekend, and 3 exclusives at each of those. Let me pull up that, and we'll start. We can start here in LA. Out there in LA, we've got this very interesting floral. I have loved reading the comments about it. The colors I think are great, but it's the first one that we've seen with words like Los Angeles just written across the back. From there was this Justice League World's Finest. This one I thought was funny. At first glance, I didn't notice that Batman was in the front of it, so I was trying to figure out why it was called Justice League, because I was like, oh, it's just Superman. And then second pass, I was like, oh, Batman is at the bottom of the shirt. And then Felix the Cat, which was kind of a surprise. Like I had no idea that they had the rights to Felix. This is the first that we've seen anything from that property. So anything from LA catch your eye, or anything that you're gonna try and get a picture.
I mean, I gotta say, I actually really like the floral. I kind of like the Los Angeles thing. Kind of reminds me of it kind of reminds me of God, I'm not One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. What am I thinking of? The one that Stuntman is based off of Brad Pitt, Margot Robbie, Leonardo DiCaprio.
La La Land. La La Land.
Nope. That is, no, La La Land is Ryan Gosling and the stunt.
Oh yeah.
Something. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Oh yeah. Yep.
Gives me those vibes a lot. I actually really like the Los Angeles florals. I think the blue and the yellow work really well together, and I'm actually really interested in it. And I would definitely love that shirt. I'm totally interested in that shirt. That to me is the winner. LA shirts keep poor man stuntman. There you go. I love that. That's hilarious.
Yeah, Gabe said this is honestly the first concerts he wasn't wowed by, and that Felix is cool, but he didn't think that the shirt was all that great. So I got to be honest, I was kind of with him. And, I'm not a big Felix guy, but just black and white with the cat that says Felix under it. I don't know. Looks a little blocky.
It's not very inspiring. I agree. I'll be honest with you. I'm not totally familiar on Felix the Cat. I don't know exactly who that is. So I don't know what that is. Is he a cartoon? I'm assuming.
Yeah, it's definitely one of those cartoons. Like I remember seeing occasionally, but not very often. Especially when it came to the cats, it would have been Garfield or Heathcliff were the ones that I watched back when I was a kid. But I remember catching some Felix, probably watching like some Betty Boop cartoons at my grandmother's kind of thing. But definitely not something that really caught my eye. Of the three, I would probably lean towards the Batman Superman one, but even that, I don't know. I almost felt like they could have done a bit more there.
I'm not a full panel kind of guy, so that's just on me.
Yeah.
So that's why the Superman one is out for me. I like the Floral City. That would be my pick from the three.
Yeah, and I think in some of the conversations that we saw, I think some of what people were talking about was the Los Angeles almost would work better if it was actually like the Hollywood sign. But the problem is that the Hollywood sign is actually like owned by private owners and is like a copyrighted thing, so you can't just put that on things. And I'm assuming that like this kind of gives the vibe of what the Hollywood sign is, but
sure,
you don't have to pay to use the words Los Angeles compared to mimicking the actual Hollywood sign.
Totally get that, and that's probably why they didn't go with Hollywood. But I'm okay with it. I like it, and I think I would if I'm gonna pick one, that is the one for me.
Well, from there we can go into the floral that they've got out in Salt Lake City, and this one, the blue, powder blue, white, and black. If you look close, it's got the woolly mammoth here, kind of in the background. A lot of people were kind of questioning like what that was all about, and if you're a hockey fan, the new what used to be the Arizona Phoenix Coyotes hockey team moved to Utah. Last year they played just as like the Utah Hockey Club, and this year they're actually got a name and are going to be the Utah Mammoth. And their colors are this powder blue and white. So Roosevelt's jumped on real quick, kind of bringing that to the forefront. And especially if you're a hockey fan, this one actually kind of hits a nice spot, at least in my mind. What did you think?
I agree. Floral City definitely looks really nice. I definitely like those colors, and I think that is a really. I didn't know all that background about the hockey, so that's thank you so much for informing me about that. The pocket looks good. Dustin will be happy. Not as happy as he's going to be this weekend, but good. No, he's happy. But no, floral definitely looks really nice, and I definitely that is definitely a good looking floral for sure. For me, though, I must say, and I've always said I'm a sucker for purple, the Tricks and Honey treats. That is my winner for me. In fact, I even like when you zoom in, you can see all the different little details.
Oh, yeah.
Different little icons they put in there. Some of that stuff gets so lost when you're looking at it at first glance. And I really like when I see the little appropriate details in the background. That is always definitely some of my favorite stuff.
Yeah, pictures often don't do them justice, and especially with the con pictures where it's more of an animation than an actual picture of the real shirt. You're right. A lot gets lost, and it's one of those things that always impresses me when I get a shirt and then you see some of those finer details and it makes the shirt that much better. I think my only thing with this one is, and they finally had a poo drop not too long ago, but that was a spooky poo drop. This is another Halloween poo shirt. Even the D23 one from a couple years ago, the Heffalumps and Woozles, well, not necessarily spooky. I mean, it's all based on a nightmare that Pooh had, which to me just seems kind of odd that that's kind of the direction that they've gone with that property. At first glance, I didn't necessarily want this, but my daughter Mackenzie is obsessed with Winnie the Pooh, so I was like, oh, I could be great. I could probably grab this shirt for Christmas, and then put it away. And then I looked closer at it. I was like, oh, it's another Halloween one. And we already grabbed her one Halloween one from the drop, so she doesn't need a second one. And so I think it's going to be one that we're going to pass on. But I love that they're using the characters. I just wish that we had more variety in how it was being used right now.
And hey, look, that's a really, really, really good point. And hopefully, just like when they listen to Dustin Out the Pocket, they listen to you about how to better explore the Winnie the Pooh property. Because we all know HQ gets all their ideas from us. They watch our show.
At least we like to think so, and that's what helps us sleep at night.
Yes, I truly like to believe that I'm making a difference within the company for sure.
Go ahead.
No, the Mountain Mickey shirt, I love that as well. That is definitely a good looking outdoorsy like shirt. And once again, you can look at those finer details in the background as well.
Got all the different trees and the signage that you would see like at a campsite or whatever like that.
Right.
I thought that was really sharp.
This is definitely the perfect shirt if you're staying at like the Fort Wilderness Lodge, or in the cabins.
Yeah.
And so that's like, I was impressed that we didn't see this more of like a park exclusive, truthfully. But I was really happy with this. The one thing that I wish we saw, figuring that we're in Utah, I was hoping to see a Mormon shirt, but that didn't happen, unfortunately. I know all the Mormons are there, and I was hoping to see a Book of Mormon shirt. But that unfortunately looks like it didn't happen.
The one that's on my wish list always is that they need to get a South Park license, and with that, they're the guys that wrote Book of Mormon. Maybe then we could work in a Mormon based or Book of Mormon shirt.
Have you seen the Book of Mormon?
Oh yeah, we've seen it twice already, and it comes back. We're season ticket holders for the DCPA here in Denver, so we get the full Broadway season every year. And Book of Mormon's coming back, so we'll see that again this coming season. And it's always a hilarious.
Oh, such a great shirt. That's such a great shirt. I'm sorry, such a great show. I definitely I've seen Book of Mormon quite a few times, and I always enjoy. Definitely always enjoy seeing it.
It's one of those ones whenever it comes through town, we always have to, my wife's huge on Wicked. I'm big on Phantom of the Opera. Like, even if they're not part of our season, we always buy tickets to those. And then Book of Mormon's another one where we always, whether it's part of the season or not, we always have to make sure we go see that. It's such a good, fun show. And I love all the stuff that Matt and Trey have done over the years. I mean, dating all the way back. If you haven't seen it, their original movie, and we'll say movie, it was their senior project at the University of Colorado. They made a musical called Cannibal the Musical based on the Packard Party here in Colorado, where they got frozen into the mountains, and the leader of the party started eating people. And it's actually, the funny thing is they went to CU, and the main dining hall on campus is named after Alfred Packer, and so they got the idea from that to do that as their senior project and turn it into a movie. And there are songs that still like just pop up in my head all the time from that flick, and I've always loved that, like all the way on to when they did Orgasmo. They've got a lot of good stuff from their early days, and
100%. Matt and Trey are really smart people, and I love what they do. I love everything they do. They are really they are definitely very fun people, and I'd love to meet them someday.
It's definitely high up there on my wish list of properties for Roosevelt's to get at some point would be, something from South Park. I'm still a avid South Park watcher. I have been since it first came out in '98. I just always think their stuff is always so witty. They pull no punches. They go after everybody. I feel like they still know how to do comedy right. And even this season, things have been drastically more political with the way the environment is. But
has it?
I enjoy, you're right, and I enjoy the presentation and what they've been doing and kind of the voice that they've been using.
I agree completely. I think they're definitely a lot of fun, and they're always pushing the envelope, and I feel like we need to see more of that. And I definitely hope Roosevelt's definitely acquires a South Park license.
Well, we definitely need to get you out to Denver at some point because they bought Casa Bonita out here. The Mexican restaurant. They actually own it now. Yeah. It was brought back to popularity by an episode of South Park that they did with Casa Bonita in it. It's funny when that episode came out. It was like right after I had graduated college. Megan was still in college. We were living with a bunch of friends, and we're watching the episode, and they were all from Colorado, so they're watching the episode, and they're just going crazy, laughing at everything that's going on. And I was like, this is funny, but it's not that funny. And they're like, you don't get it. That place is real. Like, that's how it really is. And I was like, I've been out, at that point, I'd been out here for, 10 years or whatever. I'd never heard of it, never been there. And so for my birthday that year, they took me, and it was, cheap, sugary margaritas and sopapillas and, the terrible, cheap Mexican food. But I mean, the whole environment was amazing and fun. So when it closed during the pandemic, I mean, people in Colorado were heartbroken. Like, it was, they seriously considered it like their Mexican Disneyland. And, having it brought back over the last couple of years by Matt and Trey, who bought it, renovated it, put millions of dollars into it. They actually have on Paramount Plus, they have a pretty good documentary about like the whole process and how much more they spent than they had thought.
I watched that for sure.
That thing is crazy. We've actually been a couple times since it's open, and to be honest, like, it costs way more than it used to. So like, I always kind of scoff at that because things are cleaner and better at the same time. Like, it's not like drastic, like, to me, especially the food isn't that much drastically better. But it is an amazing experience that, like, if you're in Denver and in Colorado, you have to do at least once.
No, I agree, and definitely one day I would definitely like to do that. So when I make it out to Denver one day, we will definitely do that for sure.
Well, there's always an extra bed at our house, so the door is always open for you, my friend.
Thank you, my friend. I really appreciate that.
Well, we're over the hour mark, so at this point, I think we've kind of covered all the bases. And again, thank you for you and Dustin, calling me in. I'm always flattered and always am grateful that you guys trusted me to come on and do this with you. I have such a great time. It's always great catching up with you, and I can't wait for the cruise, for that first bear hug. So thank you, my friend, for having me and for letting me co-host with you. And I'm always my friend. You guys need me.
It's always good seeing you, my friend. Always glad to co-host with you and enjoy it.
All right, man. Well, with that, there's one thing we got to end it with. Wear mighty things. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. We'll see you guys next week.
See you next week.